Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SmokeDown. We're 3 weeks away from the second biggest weed event of the year, Cannabis Slam. We kick off things tonight with a Jonn division matchup. We have Jonn 4 facing the newest Jonn who debuted last week. If you watch SmokeDown, it's Jonn 7. This Jonn right here is a little bit indifferent from what we hear. He has a different move set. He moves a little bit differently from the rest of the Jonns. I mean, his mannerisms are different. He finishes his matchups differently. He moves differently in his entrance. He also has 2 N's in his name, but that's not really part of the fact here. Tonight, it's a match where there's only 5 men right now in the Jonn Battle Royale at Cannabis Slam, and it's supposed to be a 6-man matchup. Jonn 7 and Jonn 4 are fighting for the final spot in the Jonn Battle Royale in 3 weeks at Cannabis Slam. Is the newest Jonn going to be able to face off against the lowest rank and beat him? We'll figure that out next. And out first we have the lowest ranked Jonn of them all. He's at 0% at an overall from the rest of the Jonns. Jonn 4, this guy right here, he isn't necessarily anybody that you need to downgrade or like look down on or anything like that. I mean, he's won matches. He's been even #1 contender for the Real Jonn Championship at one point, but he actually had the shortest matchup ever for the Real Jonn Championship whenever he faced off against the champion Jonn 60 at Death Roll 2. Jonn 7, this guy right here, his difference from the rest of the Jonns. I don't know if that's going to cause tension. I mean, there's already been tension in the Jonn division, but this dude has pyro. He looks completely different in style from the rest of the Jonns. He has fire around his ring gear. You know, he's basically saying that, and it even says that he's the realest. You know, I heard, you know, I've seen Jonn 2 whenever he ended up facing the Real Jonn champion Jonn 60 a couple weeks back, and he came out saying that he was the best Jonn, but this Jonn saying he's the realest. That's the boldest statement I've ever heard in the entire Jonn division. And look at this, just standing next to flames. You gotta imagine all the fans in the crowd can feel the heat. This dude right here stands right in it. I mean, you gotta respect these dudes. This matchup is underway. Jonn 4 went for the attack and a super kick. Lays out the lowest ranked Jonn at 66%. Jonn 7 already gaining the upper hand. And now Jonn 4 going for a knee to the gut. 2 kicks right near the collarbone area. I had a friend in junior high who actually broke his collarbone, and he told me it was really painful. You know, it's not something I would want to experience. Furthermore, the signature maneuver from Jonn 7 being applied onto the lowest ranked Jonn of the division. Can he gain a victory? And almost at 2. Jonn 7 getting frustrated in the early going into this matchup, already setting up for his finisher. Well, I don't even know for a minute in yet. And he's setting up for his own DDT. That's not the Dirty Dan Slam. And Jonn 4 still ends up kicking out in this matchup. That was an incredible finishing maneuver. This Jonn right here is looking to go to the Jonn Battle Royale. Ends up doing a Jonn splash. I've never seen a Jonn splash before. I've seen an elbow to the head off the top rope, but nothing like that. I told you that he was completely something else as far as the rest of the Jonns. I got to give it to Jonn 4 though, because he's holding up against 7 a lot better than he did against the champion Jonn 60. And now a splash, a Jonn splash all the way to the concrete floor. And Jonn 4 looking to throw Jonn 7 all the way up to the stage. And a drop kick right to the collarbone area. And Jonn 4 turning the tables, now going for a signature maneuver once again. And now Jonn 7 going for his patented DDT finishing maneuver. The unknown name of it. Rolling back into the ring right before the referee makes the count. Who's going to win this matchup? Could John Ford get back in time? I believe the referee's on the count of 8, 9. Now the referee's going to count to 10. Is John 7 going to Cannabis Slam? He is. The match is completely full. The second annual John Battle Royale will feature John 7. This time, other than John 4 at Mary Jania 420 earlier this year, we got to see John 4 face off in the John Battle Royale, which was also a 6-man contest. Here tonight, John 7 with 2 N's in his name ends up winning with a count out. Look at that DDT finisher. That's nothing like what the rest of the Johns do in the division. This is something completely different. This is something that should this should be absolutely feared. That was on an LED stage, by the way, what you just seen. That was brutalizing destruction by the firest and realest John in the division. I believe him after what I just seen. I wouldn't fuck with that dude. Seriously.